Hi everyone, it's Nat. Welcome to my channel. And tonight I got this guy. So inside this package is something I never exactly planned on getting, and yet when the opportunity to get it came around, I also had to say yes. So I'm just gonna cut into this. So without any further ado, inside the box is the museum quality Sola Busca by Lo Scarabeo. So it also came along with the major item that I really have wanted to read and or look at for a long time, which is the Game of Saturn. So yeah, I've been slightly obsessed with this book and deck for a while now. And one morning I woke up and Julia and Victoria texted me and said, hey, I'm thinking about selling, my Sola Busca and the Game of Saturn now that I'm done reading it and kind of working with the cards and learning what I needed to learn. And I remembered that you were really curious about it and really interested, and I wondered if, I thought I would give you a fair shake if you wanted to have a go at it, and I absolutely did. So, her having purchased and read and worked with it first made it completely possible and affordable for me to be able to do the same. So I'm extremely grateful for that, because without that, I really wouldn't be able to afford to do it, I think. This is not the hardback copy of the book. This is the paperback copy, obviously. And I've heard Peter Mark Adams interviewed numerous times, and I'm just really curious to get his take on the whole thing. So, from the book rather than just through interviews. So this is very curious for me. Beautiful setup they've got here. Be very interesting to look at it's in multiple, of course, because it's Lo Scarabeo, so multiple language guidebook. So it's not really as juicy as it looks, but it is accessible to everyone. And then here is, wow, beautiful cardstock. The deck. So the title card, wow, very thick. Nice cardstock. Interesting choice for card backs. Wow. So yeah, these are not in order, obviously. The box is extraordinary. I mean, when they said museum quality, boy, they are really not messing around here with this whole shindig. Oh, I see. Nice. Okay. Beautiful design. Smells good. Yep, you can smell it from here. Delicious cardstock. Yeah, I'm just very curious about the deck, the cards. I think it might be Tarot by 7. I can't remember who it is on Etsy. Does like a Sola Busca reimagined or revisited deck. I mean, look how thick this is. This is a thick ass deck. Let's see, I've got the Forest of Enchantment sitting here nearby, just for a comparison there. The they're obviously, this is a hugely different sized deck in every possible way. And it's also, it's 78 cards. I believe the Sola Busca, if I'm not wrong, was the first deck ever to have 78 cards. So this is the one that kind of has set the bar in so many ways for all other decks afterwards. So wow, that is extraordinary testicles there. Sorry, just like that was the first thing that came to mind. If you're offended by nudity, don't watch my channel. Lots of nudes. Yeah, fascinating. And the body postures. Obviously very wealthy people, because wealthy people are ones that could afford to be kind of lumpy and lumpin'. Yeah. So there's an image that we're relatively accustomed to seeing. Ah, the infamous Three of Swords. It's really beautiful. Wow. Very beautiful card. I mean, when I came back to the tarot, I was familiar with a lot of historical tarots, but this was not one of them. I just really was not familiar at all. I'd never heard of the Sola Busca. And I was pretty tarot nerded out from when I started. It just, I don't know if this was just like a newer, I can't remember exactly how I came across it, or, how I found out about the difference, or like all of this. Anyway, not being very articulate because I'm kind of taken in by man diapers here. Yeah, what an image. Very different Six of Swords than what we're accustomed to in the RWS. But all of the pips in this deck are illustrated. Oh, heavens. Wow. Wow. Yeah, that's just as horrifying as it looks. I think that has to be with that 8 in, that's gotta be, let's put that to one side and flip it. It's a really disturbing image. So this is 17. This would normally be the star. 6 of discs. Shields. Nine of vessels, or cups, or I'm thinking maybe. No. I'm responding to that glyph, but I'm not entirely sure whether that's what I think it is or if it's something different. I really don't know this deck. Well, that must be the Ace of Swords. Is that the Devil? 15? God, the stock is incredible. Los Scarabeo, where have you been with this? This is incredible. A 9 of probably wands. Very interesting imagery. Very, very thick deck, as you can see. Hmm. Hmm. This one's rather wonderful, actually. Some of the illustrations really rather beautiful. Wow, that's fascinating. I know Julianne read with this deck. Eight of Shields. God, it's beautiful. This is gorgeous. I mean, I love that card. I gotta tell you folks, I'm really shocked. I really would not, I didn't expect to find these to like so attractive, in all honesty. That little bird looking down. Yeah, this is fascinating. I know Julianne read with them for a little while just to see how they read, and just to become familiar with the deck and know it better. You know, this is more a study thing for her. It's definitely a study thing for me. I really do. I do love having old, copies of the old decks. I still don't have. I'd love to. I used to have a really beautiful, beautiful copy of the Visconti Sforza, and I haven't. I've got one that's like a kind of a cheap Llewellyn version that I had from the 90s that I still have. But it's not the same. Wow. So the world. Interesting. I mean, as a movement person, this pose is very interesting that's been chosen here. The way the counterbalance is happening with with all of the objects, and fascinating. And those are swords, so it's kind of a complex mind, body mind, plotting. Some things seen and obvious, other things being kept back and obfuscated. Not transparent. Very interesting. Ooh, look at that. 20. So this is judgment. Oh my gosh. He's lost his hose. And I can't tell if we're looking at the Fool or not because I just don't know the deck. But we've got a little dog here pulling on the hose. It wouldn't, be interesting if that was the Fool because we've got different symbols. I mean, it looks more like a 5 of Cups. And losing your hose is not the same thing as losing your pants, Slightly different problem, but embarrassing nonetheless if you're this guy. And a very familiar image here. This was borrowed, and this is a 10 of Swords, but it was borrowed by Pamela Coleman Smith, obviously, for the 10 of Wands. So interesting to see all the details of clothing and costumes and wow. that almost reminds me of a coffin with like they couldn't bring the bodies of the soldiers home, so there's, their shields are in here. There's not a feeling of wealth in the same kind of way. There's like an overriding feeling of defeat. This defeated looking animal here, I think it's a dog. I thought it was a giant rat at first, but I think it's a dog. And then this kind of cherub. Fascinating. Wow. It's not a comfortable deck, but it's not, aside from this guy, it's not fully sickening. Wow. 12. So, wow, that would normally be the hanged man, and that is clearly not a hanged man. So, yeah, I'm not entirely sure what it is that we're... It's not the tarot as we know it, for sure, in terms of, like, it's its own thing. It's its own structure and organization, for sure. Wow. So this is some kind of a chimera. This is not a human. On this Nine of Cups. I'm curious about this red thread that runs through all of them. From what I know, I wonder how much of this is to do with bloodlines and generational bloodlines and one or maybe one person running through each of these vessels, because frequently vessels represented people, humans. Human being as a vessel of God or vessel for the soul. Here's another red thread. God, I swear some of these look like people I've met. Fascinating. So this is 11. I guess this is either justice or strength, although, sorry guys, here it comes. This is 8. I'm guessing this one is, they could be either one, really, if you think about it. I don't know. What a face. We have this symbol again. Or sigil. Fascinating. There's a lot of like, oh jeez. Yeah, there's just so much like, bare butts, and there's lots of, naked butt genitalia humor going on here for sure, and symbolism. Very entertaining. Wow, that's like white hair but a very young face. I know purple in this time period was always about royalty, a certain type of royalty or wealth that was able to wear and afford the purple dye. Oh my gosh. Wow. Wow. I almost don't know what to say. It does remind me of that, the heart, the Three of Swords. I guess that's the Three of Clubs, maybe. Yeah. Equally kind of, this one's actually a lot more distressing than this heart. The heart is actually really beautiful. But that club is just awful. Wow. Gross. Dude. What were they? I mean, I'm just so curious. Like, what were they thinking? Wow, that Queen of Cups. Look at those fish. Mm. Good heavens. What an emperor. I'm guessing that's the emperor. Boy, there's a lot going on here. Okay, that is his sword. Just kind of like, okay, how? Like, what are we? Yeah, and it's shield, but like a baby face. I mean, it's interesting. He's kind of chubby looking over, for the time period. This, wealth, because wealth is fed well. I don't know. I'm just very curious. Wow. So it's like a 9 of discs. Definitely not the connotation we're used to yet again. Knight of discs, maybe, or Knight of shields. Hmm. 19. I mean, yeah, not the sun, really. Not quite. Maybe Ace of Cups? Postumio. I wonder, like, something to do with being, like, posthumous, or got a skull there. Okay. Wow. Angels passing secrets. 6 of Cups. Childlike images and imagery, playfulness, and yet something is very sinister and not quite right. Wow, that's beautiful. I mean, just aside for, it's just like as it is, it's beautiful. Okay, that's a 4. So I'm like looking at this as a sigil, but it's actually just how they were drawing 4. Wow. I mean, yeah, just as a card by itself, that's really stunning. This, on the other hand, death. Yeah, it sure is. I mean, very, and so casual. That giant spear. Wow. Beautiful. Wow. The colors, it's really, I'm surprised at how pretty this deck is. It does, kind of naive quality of it reminds me a little bit of, and some of the flourishes and arabesques and stuff, remind me a little bit of the Voynich manuscript, which is another sort of fascinating pastime that I have. Without the internet and tons of distraction, what does a very, really brilliant mind do, right? You can't take in, information was not available. and it had to be encoded. And so that's a Hermes 10. Wheel of, oh, Fortune, oh, Wheel of Fortune. Yeah, it is such a different time period. Oh, that's a falconer. Huh. I'm guessing a page. That must be the page of, it's numbered 11. Page of discs. Another hawk or bird of prey here. Huh. 7 of discs. Interesting how that detail isn't quite right. I believe a family, like a Venetian, was either the Sforza family was Milanese. I think the family that had Sola Busca, the name totally escapes me. It may be that their name was Sola Busca, but they had this deck and donated it. There's a version of it that's not colored that was at the British Museum, donated to the British Museum just a couple of years before Pamela Coleman Smith and the Golden Dawn folks got a hold of it to consult with. Fascinating. That's the Chariot. Every now and again you find a face that's so specific. Wow, these are 2 of them. Two of discs or 2 of coins there. So this is a cardinal or a bishop, and then we have some kind of a Roman emperor, Roman. Oh, is that the Hierophant? Yeah, I'm familiar with this one. I don't remember which one it is. Oh, it's the Fool. This is our Fool. Oh. Get it? Oh. Okay, so that's our Fool. So he's got a sort of like, not quite an uilleann pipe or a bagpipe, but yeah, some kind of early bagpipe. Interesting. And you see, he's quite muscled. He's poor. And probably had to work very, very hard. Yeah, not really. It's kind of weird. It's like, like when in the 1980s when everybody was really into 1950s, all of the 1950s stuff had a very 1980s feel to it. So this is supposed to be, they're portraying Romans, but it's got such a medieval look. So interesting. Like the medievalists do, early Renaissance folk do. It's our King of Cups. Make an attempt at Romans. Oh, look at that. Oh, that's stunning. Wow. Huh. Yeah, I mean, some of these are just exquisite. Look at that squash or gourd that he's got. Heavens. Yeah, he's very burdened by his 5 5 very large wands there, and his gourd. The symbolism for which we really don't quite have a reference. And I seem to still be like encountering new cards here. This is extraordinary. So we have a Page of Cups. This is a medieval costume. This is not Roman, which is so interesting. And it's very specific to a particular part of Italy at that time period. Wow. 10 of Cups. No red thread. Interesting. Wow, this is 14. It says Bacco. I'm guessing, I mean, this is supposed to be temperance. And yet, if that's supposed to be Bacchus, yeah, fascinating. Very interesting. Ace of Cups here, maybe? Looks like. Queen of Swords. Ooh. A little wyvern or a... Interesting. 16. I must say that's the friendliest looking tower card I've ever seen. And again, very Roman. Yeah, I don't know. 8 of clubs or 8 of wands, however we're going to say, probably clubs. Eight of blunt instruments. This would be what? The King of Shields, King of Discs. Oh, whoops, come back. No, what is that? 5 plus 4, 9. Oh, that's the Hermit. Oh. Okay, very Roman card here. It's 1. I wonder if this is our Magician. I'm curious about all these men with their backs to us. An Ace of Clubs. I feel like, yeah, we're back where we started. Yeah, there's Mr. Bollocks. Fascinating. Okay. So, I do want to read about this card real quick. I think we're all a little curious now. What do we have? It's number 8. Oh, we've got some... Okay, so they're referred to as triumphs. Interesting. Okay. So the names of the people are what are on the cards. Huh. A lot of deep symbolism going on here. All right. Yeah, Nerone. So this card can be immediately traced to the Roman... I wondered, Roman Emperor Nero, remembered in history as cruel and dissolute tyrant who set fire to Rome in 64 and blamed the Christians for it, along with many other atrocities. The more authoritative historians today affirm that this is an erroneous characterization. On the card, Nero seems to be tearing apart a child before burning him. A staff is resting on his arm, the balls hanging from it reminiscent of those of the infantile Roman games called tintinnabula, the bells children would make by stringing together walnuts or hazelnuts and tying them to a wooden stick. Oh, I see. And we've got that throughout. That's a symbol that shows up a lot. The card's iconography seems to suggest such an association, since these simple toys were placed in children's tombs along with other small objects that would accompany them into the afterlife. Interesting. Wow. Okay, so we've got the depictions and then we've got the interpretations and meanings. Some numerology, court figures, suits. Okay, so we've got batons, cups, coins, and swords. And that's all of the English part. A little bit about the history. Let's see what we got. This precious tarot deck, previously belonging to the Marchesa Busca, born Duchess of the Serbelloni family and married into the Busca family, was acquired by the Italian Ministry for Cultural Resources and Activities in 2009. Yeah, that was during my... I wasn't completely broken off yet, but I was pretty distant from tarot at that point. Is a deck of 78 cards illustrated in the antique style. The cards were lightly engraved in copper, as strokes of the burin can be clearly seen through the superimposed color, where traces of the lines are clearly visible. Huh. Fascinating. The presence of cards belonging to the same deck but not colored has suggested that the deck in Milan, after being... I thought there was a connection with this deck to Milan. After being engraved, was then painted by a Venetian artist with the addition of various inscriptions. The result is a deck where the number of cards divided into triumphs, number cards, and courts is identical to the known standard structure of today, which is 22 triumph cards, major arcana, and 56 number and court cards, minor arcana. The year of the pictorial intervention has been deduced from the text that appears on Triumph 14, Boccio, Bocco. Yeah, that would not be, it would be Bocco. Let's see, which should correspond to, okay, so it corresponds with 1491. Okay. Interesting. Lots to get into here. Fascinating. Wow. Well, I can't wait to really get a better look at this. Yeah. Nero was also, as I recall, known for playing his violin while Rome burned. That was the other big one that I remember from high school. Wow. Let's just get him out of the picture here. That's a lot. Well, suffice it to say, and this guy, fascinating. I can't think who I know somebody that looks just like this, and I cannot think for the life of me who it is. Well, it will be very interesting to work with these, you know, just from the perspective of what are we dealing with here? What are we seeing here? So perhaps there shall be more updates and various things to come as I play with this deck and get to know it better. I don't know that I will bother to read with it or not. It is just gorgeous, and I don't know how long it will be in my possession before, you know, I put it out there and say, hey, anybody want to study further? But I'm certainly very honored to have custody of it for a while. Fascinating. Yeah, I guess if this, you know, when I was working, just to clarify, when I was working with older decks and had a copy of the Carrie Yale Visconti and, you know, all of these things, it was like, we're talking like late 90s, early 2000s. And probably by about 2009, 2010, 2011, I was working with, you know, just the decks that I had, which, you know, probably just a bunch of Doreen Virtue decks and like 2 or 3 Doreen Virtue decks and my universal weight. And I really wasn't interested in acquiring any other decks. I wasn't playing with any other decks. I had a couple that were in storage or at mom and dad's, but just, you know, I had what I had and I didn't, you know, that was when it was normal to like study one deck. You know, to have like one, maybe 2 or 3 decks and really just work with those. You know, there were plenty of decks on the market. It's just that, you know, we weren't necessarily working with them. I just noticed something in my ball here that I hadn't seen before, like a little line there. Yeah, so very different time period. And this came out, I guess, or was discovered and talked about during a time when I was really coming away from, really coming away from the tarot and going through hell. Kind of entering the hell realms for a while. So, very interesting. Very interesting to discover. Yeah. Not at all like working with the Marseille or with a Visconti Sforza. You know, this doesn't even follow, you know, it feels familiar. It definitely feels Italian, but it doesn't have that sort of, well, it doesn't feel anything like any other Italian-based decks. Let's put it that way. So, all right. Well, there we go, everybody. That's the Sola Busca and the ginormous Game of Saturn here, which is a very heavy book. Very, very heavy, very glossy. So, more to come in time. All right, everyone. Talk to you later. Bye.